Today we're going to talk about what is maybe one of the saddest chapters in the Book of Mormon. And I say maybe the saddest chapter because we still have Mormon chapter 6 to cover, and that one is sad too. And we still have the end of the Book of Ether to cover. But oh my goodness, these chapters, they're just heart-wrenching as we look at the end and the destruction of the Nephite nation. Let's go ahead and take a look at that in the Mormon chapter 4 edition of Help Me Understand the Book of Mormon. I want to remind you that if you go to the Facebook page, you can find a link that says sign up, where you can sign up to receive a free study guide called Help Me Understand General Conference, where I've gone through every General Conference talk from the last General Conference and put together the best quotes from each talk and some discussion and thought questions for you for each talk in General Conference. We did a whole family home evening this past week off of one of the talks, and it was really great. So I encourage you to go get a copy of that free resource for you by simply going to the Help Me Understand the Book of Mormon Facebook page and clicking on the sign up link. Okay, let's dive into Mormon chapter 4. Help me understand the Book of Mormon. Mormon is leading the people, and there's just lots of fighting going on. The armies of the Nephites were driven back again to the land of desolation. And while they're yet weary, a fresh army of the Lamanites comes and attacks them again, and they are driven out of the city, and the Lamanites take possession of the city of desolation. And really, the whole first part of this chapter is just this battle back and forth between the Nephites and the Lamanites over basically two cities, Desolation and the city of Teancum. The Lamanites come, and in verse 6, Lamanites make preparations to come against the city Teancum, but the Nephites win, and it came to pass that they were repulsed and driven back by the Nephites. When the Nephites saw that they had driven the Lamanites, they did again boast of their own strength, and they went forth in their own might, took possession again of the city Desolation. And so we're back and forth, and just lots of fighting, lots of bloodshed, lots of bad things happen. The Lamanites come again. Now we're clear up in verse 17. And this year they did come down against the Nephites with all their powers, and they were not numbered because of the greatness. And then verse 18, this is really the beginning of the end for the Nephites. 18 is kind of a sad verse. You might mark it if you want to. It's sad. From this time forth did the Nephites gain no more power over the Lamanites, but began to be swept off by them, even as a dew before the sun. The Lamanites come down, they take the city of Desolation, beat the Nephites there. Nephites come to the city of Boaz. They did stand against the Lamanites with exceeding boldness, insomuch that the Lamanites did not beat them until they had come again the second time. Then they come the second time, drive the Nephites again, and take them. And verse 22, the Nephites did flee from before them, taking all the inhabitants with them. Verse 23, now I, Mormon, seeing that the Lamanites were about to overthrow the land, I went to the hill Shim to take up all the records which Amram had hid up unto the Lord. So, and that ends chapter 4. I mean, just chapter 4, you just read through it and you're going, oh, how bleak. How is Mormon possibly surviving this type of destruction, this type of just sadness and negative thing that's going on among the Nephites. And then we look into our own lives and we think, man, are there times where we're that way, where it's like nothing is going right? It seems like maybe week after week or month after month, the only thing that's happening is we're taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps back and 2 steps forward. And the Nephites and Lamanites are doing that. Nephites take Desolation, and the Lamanites take it back, and then they fight over Teancum, and then they lose, and then the Nephites take Desolation back, and then the Lamanites come in, and sometimes you get just stuck in this. And if you get stuck like that, one thing that's nice to know is that you're not alone in having these type of experiences. Mormon's been through it, and our Heavenly Father understands it, and he can help us. He helps Mormon. He somehow gets Mormon through it, and we're going to see we'll talk a bit about how Mormon and Moroni get through this, but it's a sad time. There's not a lot of happy, cheery stuff in Mormon chapter 4, or really chapter 5, or chapter 6. The one bright spot, I guess, is verse 23. Mormon has time to go get the plates, and so he goes and gathers up the plates that have been hid there by Amram the Lord. Still, make sure that Mormon has an opportunity to gather and protect these plates that become the Book of Mormon, so that we could have them in our day, so that we could study them. And hopefully that helps you better understand Mormon chapter 4. If you're going through a rough time, if you're going through a time that seems bleak, Mormon's been through it and understands, and somehow God got him through it. And somehow God will get you through it. I don't know how. I don't know how Mormon got through it. We don't even have a record of it. I know how I've gotten through bleak and depressing and sad times in my own life, and I know that God has gotten me through some of those times. And I just believe that God can get you through these bleak and hard and challenging times as well. When we read Mormon chapter 4, that's about the best we can come up with in terms of a positive message that we can take away and say, okay, what should I apply here? Well, what we can apply here is that Mormon has been through hard times. You go through hard times. God gets us through. And hopefully that helps you better understand Mormon chapter 4. And hopefully, in the spite of all of the negativity that's going on with the Nephites, we can look and say, gosh, there is a God in heaven who loves us and helps us through. Thanks so much for participating. This has helped me understand the Book of Mormon.